Ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday, the 4th day of November 2016. We are just 3.5 days out from the most historic election in U.S. history. Nationalism versus globalism. The entire world watches. Podesta, the chairman of Hillary Clinton's campaign, the guy at the center of Wikileaks, only one window into this crime network, and it's foreign governments buying Hillary off. It's incredible corruption. It's manipulating the media. It's talking about rigging the polls with oversampling. Every crime you can imagine, proving she lied to Congress and the FBI. In the emails, they talk about covering up the very investigation. Red-handed, open and shut. And we've warned the globalists. I had one of our insiders on who has high-level contacts in the NYPD 2 days ago, Doug Hagman. We need him back on today, even if it's 10 minutes. And he said it's going to come out that there's pedophilia, the occult, you name it. That's the headline from the article we did and the interview 2 days ago. WikiLeaks today, the latest data dump. Paul Watson gets it out first. DrudgeReport.com has the massive headline. We'll put it on screen right now. Clinton campaign chairman practices Aleister Crowley black magic. Menstrual blood, semen, breast milk. Most bizarre WikiLeaks revelation yet, with a high priestess who world leaders visit and top rap and Hollywood stars visit, who carries out a form of ritualistic sex magic developed, really just taken from older rituals, by Aleister Crowley. Menstrual blood, semen, breast milk, most bizarre WikiLeaks revelation yet. And, ladies and gentlemen, I told you that the Secret Service and others told us that they're into the occult, but I don't need to believe my sources. I have Bill Clinton in his own book, My Life, the Early Years, where he talks about how he loved voodoo, how God is manifest in humans through spirits, good and evil, and how he believes in voodoo. Voodoo is a very ancient form of this, but you notice it's manifest in every culture, the same belief that something's entering into you, but you've got to do bad things to open it up. So it's a psychological technology if you don't believe in God. But they've so blinded atheists and people that they won't even look at this as anthropology. Like, look at Haiti and what came out of Western Africa or Eastern Africa. Think about this. So we've got Bill Clinton writing chapters about how much he loves Port-au-Prince, the Haitians, and voodoo, and how God is manifest through this and how he believes in it. I mean, go read it for yourself. His book. Not mine. His book. This is their operating system. And in the Podesta email where he's being invited and saying, of course, he's going, and they're promising him all the deliciousness that will be there, Paul Watson gets into the fact that the FBI and others talk about this perhaps being, not perhaps, leaning strong evidence towards code words. Code words for children. But it gets worse. In the rituals that she's released, it shows the severed head of a child, their high priestess. Again, appears to be an effigy, but it's got neck tissue hanging out, pouring ground up blood and body parts mixed with mother's milk, again, to desecrate it, desecrate anything pure and good, dumping it on into the bathtub, and then they basically have sex in the blood. And everyone smears blood all over themselves and just absolutely defile each other. And then Paul Watson gets into it later in the article, and I'm going to come back. We're going to cover all of this, get into the history of it, and a lot more. Spirit cooking developed by Aleister Crowley. Urine, sperm, you name it. The ritual is performed. And again, they always call it art. But then they admit that it is an intimate spiritual ceremony. And the embedded video depicts bizarre nature of the ceremony. They mix all this garbage together. Then they paint on the walls about how to cut yourself and how to spread more blood. It's meant to symbolize the union between, and then it goes man and all this other garbage and the divine, which is representation of one of the prime maxims. As above, so below. Yeah, right. And then, this is just a gateway, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, to larger stuff. This is what she's publicly put out. Then she's got the party that's in the emails where she's telling him about the menu and all the deliciousnesses, like she's talking to a connoisseur. Like, oh, would you like a Pinot Noir from the Russian River, or perhaps something from a little bit further north in Oregon, so it has a little bit sweeter taste? I mean, what's your palate? And they just go through all the different deliciousness, and then it ties into Haiti and children. Stay with us. Marina Abramovic, or witch, is the coven leader of a branch of Aleister Crowley black magic, recognized to be the most absolute vicious, committed worldwide network. And according to his teachings, there must be the blood of children and innocents. And he reportedly the most wicked man ever to live, which I don't really believe, but he's their modern god, killed his own son. Now, it's all over the internet. I don't want to be proven right. I wish this wasn't true. One of the top trending deals on Reddit was, I can't believe we live in a world where Alex Jones is always right. The top YouTube comment, when you go to the video of some of their promos for rituals they do, the top link is, oh my God, Alex Jones was right again. It's not that I was right again, I was right. Now, discretion's advised before we show any of this. Let's not get to any of this now. If folks want to see it, it's up on Infowars.com and DrudgeReport.com. What are we talking about? Let's go to Drudge and show that headline, because it all ties in. The three top headlines on Drudge. There's a London Guardian article, FBI agents see Antichrist. Literal, by the way, is the quote. Personified. They believe she is incarnate evil. Now, they know what's in the Wikileaks, ladies and gentlemen. That's why. This is who Podesta and Hillary run with. Podesta goes, this is in his emails, to the events, and they discuss what's on the menu. Placentas, flesh parts, blood, lots of blood, mainly blood. Then they talk in clear code about what else is on the menu. In the menu promo pack, it shows a child's severed head, appears to be an effigy, with the ground up blood being dumped on top of it, the blood and other tissues. There is then a ceremonial cookie made to look like a child that is black, purple, blood, that is enjoyed. Now, this is all in Aleister Crowley's writings. That's why instantly this morning, when I saw it in Paul Watson's story that's up on DrudgeReport.com, I knew what it was. I saw the headline and I went, that's Crowley. Had to read down to see it was Crowley. Now, Drudge has a pretty accurate headline. He changed ours a bit, but it's Wiccan. Wiccan is the popularized system they use to recruit people in. This is really hardcore, super ancient Middle Eastern / Babylonian hardcore black magic. Now, the average Wiccan aren't actually nice people. They're totally deceived. There's all these other ancient religions and earth religions and things that they kind of put at the front door, and then once they induct you into it, you learn it's Satanism. Now, I personally experienced this when I was growing up in the richest county in Texas, and I make that point because there were just billionaires and mansions all over the place out in the countryside, and it really got to be a bummer where I wouldn't get hot girlfriends in the town anymore because, I mean, I just thought I was super handsome getting the senior, super, beautiful girl in her, fancy Bentley or Jaguar. But then I'd learn after I was dating her a week or so that really wasn't the case. I was being recruited into Satanism, and I just was not going to be part of it. Super creepy. I mean, I've repeatedly been there where you're in the woods in a big, huge barn by a mansion, and there are people with hoods on and police cars and stuff parked. I mean, out of a movie. That's why I've always told you about this. And they really wanted me because I was real good looking. I was beating up guys weighed 100 pounds more than me who were starting fights. I was a wild man. But I loved God. Big difference. And they were just trying to recruit me into it because the times I was there was not a lot of young people there that I would see at these things. I mean, a few times I'd have to duck off and then walk miles out of the woods. And then a police car pulls up and what are you doing? And blah, blah, blah. Well, what's your problem? Why don't you go back? And then all of a sudden, you start getting pulled over when you're going to school and your older buddy's driving you and the cops are after you. And again, most police departments aren't into this, but when the Satanists get control, they've got the cops. And the police know this. They know there's certain jurisdictions that are under this control. God help us. We're in so much trouble, folks. We're in so much trouble. And if you think you couldn't shake a stick or throw a stick in the dark and hit a group of devil worshippers in Rockwall, Texas, right in the middle of supposed big Bible Belt, then you better believe in Manhattan. Woo! Manhattan, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., Santa Rosa. I mean, it is unbelievable. And these people got all the money, all the power. They could have 100 mistresses. They could have whatever they want, and that's not what they want. They want the thrill they believe they get by being possessed. And by the way, we're putting it all together. Bill Clinton in his own book admitting he likes voodoo. They're printing it all off for me right now. I've got the Washington Post and CNN here. 1996, book says Hillary talks to the dead, has seances. Remember, that's just a gateway to get people that she wants to, you know, involved into the cult. And then once you've been in a cult with FBI people and CIA and presidents and stuff, I mean, you don't go back. You don't turn out of that, because who's going to believe it? No one's going to believe it. But then in the Hollywood movies and the culture, they're throwing it in our face. They're telling us how it works. So we're collating all of this right now. It's up on Infowars.com. It's up on DrudgeReport.com. We're all doing videos on it, my whole crew, breaking it down. And here's what's the most horrific about this. I want to be clear. I'm not saying everyone that's going to these events is a real devil worshiper. I'm not saying at all these events, or even most of these events, they're actually killing kids. You know, as they talk about placenta here, because that's as close as you can get to it. They call it an aphrodisiac for sex rituals. But to be clear, this is the gateways. Ouija boards, seances, then Wiccan, you know, New Age. And then as you get deeper, oh, actually, we've got to worship both aspects, the destructive and the empowering, you know, and the light. And then, actually, we're all about our own personal power and dominating and killing everybody and enslaving. But that's who the Luciferians have put in, is a satanic group pushed by MI5, MI6, and others, not the entire organizations, but groups within it, to have horrible, evil people that they can compromise who will do anything they're told. It's like an operating system to just do horrible things. The people above it are Luciferians, and they do not take part in the blood and the Baphomet and the sex orgies. They're all super pious, they believe, and just having to cleanse the earth of the human infection for Lucifer so that we can ascend with Lucifer rising and merge with the silicon and become gods. Now, those guys were having visions in the 1850s. Galton, the Huxleys, the Darwins, this is all in their books. You just don't hear it popularly pushed. And they would have like week-long visions and then say biometrics and computers and double helix, and we're going to build a huge system and control everyone, and we're going to have spacecraft, and there's going to be atomic weapons, and here's the equations. They actually had all that by the 1860s and 70s. They believe they were interdimensionally being given. Now the media will separately make fun of me for all this, but then it's admitted that that's what they did, and then now you see them practicing it. But again, the Clintons and people are practicing the Satanism, because that's like an operating system just for like goblin creatures, and I say that, you know, metaphorically, that serve the final group above them. But the Satanists are the big operating system they're using. The Satanists work for the Luciferians. If you want to, and again, no one else explains this cosmology the way I do. People say, well, I read this book and said something different. Look, I know, okay? I know. I reverse engineered it. I've studied it. My whole life's been basically brushing up against it over and over again, like a Stephen King novel, okay? It's like the Red King and the Gunslinger, all right? And you need to understand, folks, this stuff's real. This stuff's going on. And you need to understand that we're in deep crap. And the people in our government aren't perfect, but they realize Hillary gets in, she wants death and destruction. She basically Linda Blair's, folks. She rolls around the carpet, spitting and snapping. Some of that's even come out in the news. She just flips out. She goes into trances. I was talking to one Blackwater guy about some other folks I talked to that done detail for, and he was like, yeah, no, she didn't really, you know, she screamed and yelled and hated everybody and was really angry, but she'd also trance out and like switch off. I go, what do you mean? Well, it's kind of like in Star Wars when, I think I'll switch off now, sir. It's like, okay, and C-3PO just goes, so MK Ultra mind control, they use these satanic rituals too as fronts for that. But really, that's how they get it through Congress, because it's not really fronts for that. The mind control is the front for the ritual, because the ritual is the mind control. It's just the old name of it. A secret society is just the old name for an intelligence agency, public or private. So see, what's old is new. Nothing new under the sun. These are mind control programs that are being carried out right in front of everybody, and it's breaking on Infowars.com. But I thought, instead of just burrowing into all this at first, I would give you just some of my perspective background on it. But Infowars.com is going to be the clearinghouse, because I can see it, I can intellectually know it, I can also feel it. This is the massive tipping point. When I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning, I said, this is the day that the spirit trying to control this country may be overthrown, but it's up to us. This is a major battle happening now. We all need to be praying to Jesus Christ. My fellow Americans, my fellow humans on planet Earth, There is an epic, legendary awakening of nationalism and populism happening from the Brexit to the Donald Trump phenomenon to Russia pulling out of the New World Order and arresting the bankster oligarchs. Humanity's will for self-determination and freedom is expressing itself. The great classical liberalisms of Thomas Jefferson and Francis Bacon are reawakening right now. And it's because of the historical times we live in that InfoWars is going to embark on an unprecedented 52-hour broadcast. We've done 24-hour broadcasts before, but we've never gone 52 hours. This Monday, from 11 a.m. Central, right through Tuesday, right into Wednesday, when the Wednesday show ends at 3 p.m. Central, we will broadcast for an unprecedented, legendary, over-the-top 52 hours live. The second great awakening is taking place. We are in the dawn of a new era of renaissance, of rediscovery and human liberty. Donald Trump, the Brexit, InfoWars, Matt Drudge, Breitbart, WorldNet Daily, and so many others are only one small manifestation in the fire of liberty that is now exploding across the globe. You can see it in the news. You can feel it. You can witness it on the street. History's happening. They always say this election is the most important in our lifetimes, and we laugh it off. I wouldn't even get involved in past elections because they were so clearly frauds. This one's the big kahuna. A clear demarcation line, a crossroads between nationalism and tyranny, between Americanism and globalism. That's why we're doing this one time and one time only, because history's happening. A 52-hour live transmission kicking off Monday, November 7th, 2016 at 11 a.m., running right through Election Day the 8th, into the night at 3 p.m. and quite frankly beyond. It's historical, and it's part of overthrowing the dinosaur media, not just overthrowing the two-party corrupt system. I want to see 10 million viewers tune in over the 50-plus hours, and that's where you come in. You are the heart and blood of the InfoWar. If you spread the link to Infowars.com/show and point out that this is the alternative new media, this is the rebellion, this is the modern Paul Revere operation, then all of you are riding right beside us, not behind us. So spread the word, my Paul Reveres, no matter where you live in the world. To information warfare arms, the globalists are coming, and they will be met on the field. Infowars.com, powered by 1776. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday, the 4th day of November 2016. We are just 3.5 days out from the most historic election in U.S. history. Nationalism versus globalism. The entire world watches. Podesta, the chairman of Hillary Clinton's campaign, the guy at the center of Wikileaks, only one window into this crime network, and it's foreign governments buying Hillary off. It's incredible corruption. It's manipulating the media. It's talking about rigging the polls with oversampling. Every crime you can imagine, proving she lied to Congress and the FBI. In the emails, they talk about covering up the very investigation. Red-handed, open and shut. And we've warned the globalists. I had one of our insiders on who has high-level contacts in the NYPD 2 days ago, Doug Hagman. We need him back on today, even if it's 10 minutes. And he said it's going to come out that there's pedophilia, the occult, you name it. That's the headline from the article we did and the interview 2 days ago. WikiLeaks today, the latest data dump. Paul Watson gets it out first. DrudgeReport.com has the massive headline. We'll put it on screen right now. Clinton campaign chairman practices Aleister Crowley black magic. Menstrual blood, semen, breast milk. Most bizarre WikiLeaks revelation yet, with a high priestess who world leaders visit and top rap and Hollywood stars visit, who carries out a form of ritualistic sex magic developed, really just taken from older rituals, by Aleister Crowley. Menstrual blood, semen, breast milk, most bizarre WikiLeaks revelation yet. And, ladies and gentlemen, I told you that the Secret Service and others told us that they're into the occult, but I don't need to believe my sources. I have Bill Clinton in his own book, My Life, the Early Years, where he talks about how he loved voodoo, how God is manifest in humans through spirits, good and evil, and how he believes in voodoo. Voodoo is a very ancient form of this, but you notice it's manifested in every culture, the same belief that something's entering into you, but you've got to do bad things to open it up. So it's a psychological technology if you don't believe in God. But they've so blinded atheists and people that they won't even look at this as anthropology. Like, look at Haiti. and what came out of Western Africa or Eastern Africa. Think about this. So we've got Bill Clinton writing chapters